The unforgiving sun beat down on the sprawling city of Uruk, its mud-brick walls shimmering with a relentless heat. Here, amidst the bustling marketplace and the towering ziggurat reaching towards the indifferent sky, ruled Gilgamesh, a king carved from legend. Two-thirds god, they whispered, with the strength of a storm and the ambitions that mirrored the boundless desert. Yet, a disquiet gnawed at the heart of Uruk. Gilgamesh's reign, etched with victories over neighboring lands and a disregard for his own people, cast a long shadow. The gods, ever watchful and capricious, observed with a growing unease. In a celestial chamber, bathed in the ethereal glow of stardust, the gods convened. Anu, the sky god, his beard a cascade of silver, spoke in a voice that rumbled like distant thunder. Gilgamesh's arrogance grows like a weed, choking the land with his pride. He must be humbled. Enki, the god of wisdom, a sly glint in his eyes, proposed a solution. We shall create a counterpoint to his brashness, a force to mirror his strength. From the fertile earth, pulsating with the lifeblood of the world, rose Enkidu. Untamed and wild, his body bore the marks of the wilderness, a tapestry woven from dust, sun-baked skin, and muscles that rippled with raw power. Raised by gazelles, he ran with the wind, wrestled with lions, and spoke the language of the storm. He was a creature of untamed nature, a savage echo of the world Gilgamesh sought to control. Fate, a weaver of intricate tapestries, orchestrated their paths to collide. A caravan from Uruk, venturing into the wildlands, stumbled upon Enkidu guarding a watering hole. Enraged by their intrusion, he challenged them, a primal roar echoing across the plains. News of the encounter reached Gilgamesh, his competitive spirit ignited. Here was a challenge worthy of his unmatched prowess. The journey to confront Enkidu was fraught with danger. Sandstorms lashed the land, obscuring the sun, and treacherous creatures lurked in the shadows. But Gilgamesh, fueled by an insatiable thirst for dominance, pressed on. He finally arrived at the watering hole, where Enkidu stood, a defiant silhouette against the setting sun. The clash that ensued was the stuff of legends. The earth trembled as Gilgamesh, a whirlwind of bronze and muscle, met Enkidu's ferocious blows. Days bled into nights, the sun a silent witness to their epic duel. Spears splintered, bodies contorted, and primal screams tore through the desolate landscape. But amidst the frenzy, a shift occurred. In the heat of the battle, a grudging respect blossomed between the two warriors. They recognized in each other a strength that mirrored their own. As the final blow was poised to be delivered, they paused, locked in a tense stalemate. Then, with a shared laugh that echoed through the emptiness, they embraced, not as enemies, but as equals. Their newfound friendship became a force to be reckoned with. They embarked on a series of legendary quests, their names whispered in awe across the land. Together, they challenged the monstrous Humbaba, guardian of the sacred cedar forest, and emerged victorious. Their laughter filled the halls of Uruk, a testament to a bond forged in the crucible of combat. However, the relentless march of time cast a chilling shadow. One day, Enkidu fell ill, a mysterious sickness ravaging his once mighty form. Gilgamesh, watching his friend wither away, felt a despair he had never known. Enkidu's raspy breaths replaced their shared laughter, a constant reminder of mortality's cruel grip. Consumed by grief and a terror of his own demise, Gilgamesh embarked on a desperate quest for immortality. Guided by whispers and rumors, he set sail across a vast, uncharted sea. His journey was fraught with peril. He outwitted cunning sirens who lured travelers to their deaths, navigated treacherous straits where monstrous krakens lurked, and crossed scorching deserts populated by sand demons. Finally, after weeks that stretched into months, he arrived at the legendary Isle of the Blessed. There, shrouded in mist, stood Utnapishtim, the sole survivor of a great flood, a cataclysm unleashed by an enraged pantheon. Time seemed to have bypassed him. His face held the wisdom of ages, his eyes reflecting a universe of experiences. Utnapishtim, a being granted immortality for his piety, was Gilgamesh's only hope. The king bared his soul, revealing his consuming fear of death and his desperate quest to cheat fate. Utnapishtim listened with a stoic expression, his silence heavy with knowledge. Finally, he spoke, his voice a gentle murmur that carried the weight of centuries. Immortality, he said, is not a gift bestowed upon mortals. It is a state reserved for the gods. Utnapishtim finished, his words echoing in the cavernous hall. Despair threatened to engulf Gilgamesh. He had braved unimaginable dangers, only to be met with a truth he desperately wished to deny. But Utnapishtim, sensing the turmoil within the king, offered a glimmer of hope. There is a test, however, he continued. A test that reveals the true meaning of life, not just the avoidance of death. Utnapishtim then described a series of trials, each designed to challenge a different aspect of human existence. Gilgamesh, fueled by a renewed purpose, readily agreed. The first trial demanded Gilgamesh remain awake for 7 days and 7 nights. Yet, slumber, a seductive siren, beckoned him. He fought the urge with all his might, but with each passing hour, his eyelids grew heavier. Finally, overcome by exhaustion, he succumbed to a deep sleep. Utnapishtim, witnessing his failure, did not scorn him. Instead, he explained, sleep is a gift, a time for rejuvenation and reflection. To deny it is to deny a fundamental aspect of being human. The next trials tested Gilgamesh's patience, his compassion, and his understanding of responsibility. He endured scorching heat that sapped his strength, navigated gardens of temptation that threatened to drown him in pleasure, and faced riddles that challenged the limits of his knowledge. With each failure, Gilgamesh felt a gnawing frustration. He had conquered beasts and defied gods, yet these seemingly simple trials eluded him. But with each attempt, he gained a new perspective. He learned the power of rest, the necessity of empathy, and the importance of humility. Finally, Utnapishtim revealed the final test to witness the beauty of creation and accept its impermanence. He led Gilgamesh to a hidden garden, a kaleidoscope of life, unlike anything the king had ever seen. Flowers bloomed in impossible colors, exotic birds sang with otherworldly melodies, and every creature radiated a vitality that filled Gilgamesh with awe. But amidst this paradise, Utnapishtim pointed to a single rose, its petals starting to wilt. Even the most beautiful things must eventually fade, he said. It is the fleeting nature of existence that grants it its preciousness. Tears welled in Gilgamesh's eyes. He had finally grasped the true meaning of Utnapishtim's words. Immortality wasn't a shield against death, but a curse that denied the experience of life itself. He understood now the value of his bond with Enkidu, the joy of their victories, and the poignant beauty of his friend's final moments. Returning to Uruk, Gilgamesh was a changed man. He no longer sought to conquer death, but to embrace life in all its richness. He focused on the well-being of his people, ensuring their prosperity and security. He spent time chronicling his adventures, ensuring the stories of his friendship with Enkidu and his quest for immortality would be passed down for generations. Though he eventually succumbed to death, Gilgamesh's legacy lived on. He wasn't remembered as the tyrant who defied the gods, but as the king who learned to live, to love, and to accept the inevitable cycle of life and death. His story became a beacon of hope, a testament to the human spirit's ability to find meaning and purpose even in the face of mortality.